The director doesn't hire you to act like that person. The director hires you to become that person. Are the most talented actors the ones who make it in Hollywood? That's a very intriguing question. There's some people who are so unaware of how this place works. I believe that, or I've experienced that, if you don't have an understanding of this industry and the systems of the industry, without a stroke of divine intervention, it's difficult to not only be successful, but to survive. I think that some actors who make it in Hollywood are very talented. There's some of my heroes, the Meryl Streeps of the world, you know, a lot of people that I love their work, but I think a lot of it's luck, looks, strategic alliances and relationships, your agent, and a lot of business components. So everybody I see as an actor, like, you know, Seymour Hoffman, unfortunately, who died recently, you know, acting takes courage. It's not about, you know, how you look only, but Meryl Streep doesn't care how she looks. She just surrenders to the truth of the character. Not everybody has the ability to do that. They look good and they can pretend to be that person. It's not the same as being that person. And there are not many actors that will surrender to that. One of my great acting teachers, when I was a very young actor, when I asked a similar question, he said, "I'm going to make it real simple for you." He said, "It's like falling into darkness backward." Imagine just falling into darkness backward. No control of your landing, if you're going to be caught or not. Just fall. Everybody said, well, suppose there's a rock back there, or suppose there's a, I don't know, no pillows and just hard floor. The writer is saying to you, I want you to fall into darkness backward. I've given you all the description, the director and I, of who the character is. We've had rehearsals and discussions about who this human being is. I do not want you to describe them to me. I want you to become them by falling into darkness backward. Can you do that? There are all kinds of acting techniques, and whoever wants to go that way, fine. But it's idiotic for an actor to think that in order to play a meth head, that he has to take crystal meth. It's like, that's insanity. Actors who can play a crystal meth head talk to crystal meth users and see what they do. But the truth of the matter is, once he sees that, or she sees that, what great actors understand is that we are everything. So therefore, you don't have to take crystal meth, you just surrender to the crystal meth head within you. See, actors who play, they may hate child molesters, they may hate murderers, they may hate whatever as people. But what they realize at one time or another in their lives, they have evil too. And surrendering to that is to me, that's the strength, the glory, the courage of great actors. And we don't have many of them, unfortunately. I think all of us are everything. And people say, well, how can you say that? I'm a woman with a child. I'm not a murderer. Okay. Suppose somebody just came up and hit your baby in the head with a hammer. What would you call your response to that if you pick that hammer up? No one's saying you're a murderer. No one's saying you're anything, but you're everything. And if you're hired to do a job, the director doesn't hire you to act like that person. The director hires you to become that person. And that's something that most people don't understand about acting. Acting is not, that word is annoying because it means you're pretending. Acting is not pretending. Acting is becoming. It's surrendering to the spirit of whatever that character you're describing is. There's a thing called stage fright. That's when you're in the middle. You've given part of yourself up to be the character, but your ego and your fear and paranoia is watching how you give it up and tries to control the shape of that giving up. But real actors, like the ones that I adore, and the Kate Winslets and the Meryl Streeps and the Denzels when he's really in it, and the Sam Jacksons and the Philip Seymour Hoffmans and the Jeffrey Wrights, and when those people go there, there's nobody there except that character. And that's admirable. It takes courage. And people don't understand because sometimes you're not in control. You're on a ride. You have to trust. And the person you trust is the director to say, did I ride right? What do you think? Because you don't stand outside and look at your ride. You ride. And that's what real great actors do. Surrender totally to the moment and to totally respond to what the other person that you're acting with is doing. That takes courage. You're not watching yourself anymore. You're watching the person you're with in the scene. You're not watching how you react to what they do. You're responding like we're talking right now. I'm not trying to be a special anything. I'm just responding to what you're asking me. And that's what acting should be. Common mistakes. Number one, new actors for the most part, and some actors which just their egos are out of shape, believe that acting is about talking or speaking their lines. They have no understanding of the art of listening. We are having a conversation. What a conversation is, you speak. I listen closely to what you're saying because I want to respond to your question. Most actors have memorized their line, so no matter how you say it or anything, they just respond with their line. And on camera, it looks like, no, wait a minute, she was crying. Oh, Becky, you want to go to the prom? No, she was crying when you gave her the flower. Oh, yeah. Take two. Hey, Becky, you want to go to the prom? cut, you go have a long talk in the corner, okay? The second biggest mistake, I think, is that some actors are not collaborators. You know, it's like they're so insecure. It's like their scene. And so they go in with an attitude like, well, this is my scene because I have more lines than you, you know, so you're, you know. And there's two people in the scene. There's two people in the scene. If you're doing a monologue, it's just you. But there are people's egos who are so large that you're not even there. So it's like, that's how good they can be, and that's annoying as hell. The third thing is nerves. I mean, I've literally seen, I had to stop shooting a scene because in the middle of the scene, the actor was sweating so badly that we had to cut. Are you okay? What happened? What happened? When I say sweat, I'm talking about because internally they are so worried about the fact that they're not doing it right that they just, something internally happens and they just are terrified. And so as a director, you got to call and give them, you know, make sure they know that they're protected. Make sure it's, if they, you got to give them reassurance. Because acting is it's surrendering. It's not holding on to safety. That's easy for me to say, but try it sometimes. Try going in and trying to do it and you don't know how it's going to turn out. And you ask, how was I? How did it go? It was great. Can I see it? You know, it's like you don't know how it was because you were involved in it. And not knowing what to do is, or not feeling safe that you've done it well, it's a challenge. Put it that way. There's some actors, I won't mention their names, but they are so involved in the legitimacy of what they do. They're there before the crew and me. They just sit on the set and sit in the seat they know they're going to be in sometimes, or if it's supposed to be their bedroom, they'll go around the bedroom and touch the props and do what has never become familiar with the pictures on the wall and what's in the closet, what kind of bed sheets are they, what color is the bed, and how soft are the pillows, and why are those pillows that soft, or why are they harder, or is the blind closed or is it open, and is there curtains on the wall, and why was that color chosen for the sheet, and okay, and they're comfortable because it's their bedroom for the last 15 years. So sometimes they come to the set 2 days before and they just sit there and they become organically ingrained. Some of the great actors have their own ways of becoming the truth of what they're supposed to be. And I get there and they're there. Hey, Bill, how you doing, man? What you doing here, man? You know what I'm doing, I'm working. I see you, and thank you, because I respect that. They don't just wait for you to tell them what to do. They have their own, because I'm an actor too. As you start surrendering to a character that the author has written, it's going to sound crazy. But the character tries to live through you if you accept him or her. I was playing a character once in a movie, I forgot which one it was. And a week before I was supposed to film, I started doing this. Never done that in my life. My girlfriend at the time said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What are you?" She said, "You're going." I said, "No, I'm not." She says, "Okay, watch." 5 minutes later, I'm going. That was the character coming through me. And so I put that in part of the film, because I knew something that was being expressed through that person. And it's trust. Trusting your instincts, yourself, and your talent. A lot of people come out here with dreams, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dreaming, but have some kind of strategic plan that I mean, when I was coming here, black man, big guy, dark, there was no internet, there was no YouTube, Facebook. People that look at like me right now, coming out here, they can create webisodes for nothing, and they can be seen, and their work can be seen, and they can actually, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia started off as a webisode, then DeVito saw it, and now it was about 9 years. So the thing is that, I mean, I always say to these kids, what are you waiting for? I think what every school does, it sends you out there with hopes and dreams. It tells you that it's not going to be easy, but they really don't tell you how hard it's really going to be. Because I think they don't want to discourage you because it's like, it's a beast. I mean, not only for black people, anybody. I mean, it's like, why are we doing it? You wonder sometimes. I mean, well, you know, I could retire. I mean, I could just live. But you know, there's something that I had a dinner at my house. This was like a year ago, and like 9 people were there, and the discussion was about, in your lifetime, out of all of the people you've ever known, what percentage of them ended up doing what they wanted to do with their lives? Percentage was 3%. So when I look at my good fortune, all I continue to go through and have been through, but I am still doing at my age what I want to do with my life, and I wake up every day and I want to do more. I do never want to retire. No matter what the pain has been, I feel I've been blessed. Because most of my friends that I grew up with are dead. Or if they're not dead, they retired from jobs they hated that they did for 35 years or more. And they retire and they sit on the porch and go on cruises and stuff, which is okay. They never enjoy one day of work. Not one day. There's something, I mean, you can know everything, but if you don't know anybody, whatever you know becomes insignificant, because you have no path to realize your dream. You have to have a mission, a path. Some people are very lucky and very fortunate, and they exchange sexual favors or whatever it is, and they get ahead or whatever, no pun intended. But the fact of the matter is that just being talented only, it's kind of and this is my opinion, a naive thought in terms of making it, because it's called show business. And if you have a nice face and a nice body, that's okay. But you have no understanding of the industry, you can be used for some period of time, but the time that you're being used, you should be leveraging. You know, a friend of mine says this, and I believe it now. You know, he says this is the pimp and hoe game. You know, he says as long as you're not the one wearing the fishnets and pumps all the time, it's a good game to be in. As long as you pimp it sometimes too. But if you're just, because I don't look good in fishnets and pumps. That's one of the things that I have a problem with. You know, you don't want to see that picture. But the fact of the matter is that let the agents and the managers go out there and their fishnets and pumps and provide something for you that you're paying your percentage to. So talent is one aspect of it, but the business of making sure that your talent is leveraged to your benefit also. You should own something. You should own your own content at some point. And right now, listen, these guys, two guys made a feature film with 2 cell phones. So you're waiting to be discovered. And well, there are times I thought I'd never make it in this business. I remember being in New York City as a young actor, you know, and I graduated from NYU School of the Arts, and I got a part in the Negro Ensemble Company, and that was pretty prestigious, and worked at a couple more gigs as an actor, stage actor. And then couldn't pay my rent. Didn't work for 6 or 8 months. Unemployment ran out, and I ended up panhandling on the street. But before that, me and my girlfriend used to steal. We put on these trench coats even in the summertime, and we sewed these big pockets on the inside. We'd go to the AMP supermarket, and we'd put meat and stuff in them. And we'd buy like maybe some cereal, and just, that was a low, low, low point. Then I panhandled, and it was like, I was a drug head, you know. I hit a low point in New York City one time and almost homeless, and I literally was getting high all the time on different things, and I was on the street. I had my hand out and I was begging for money. And this older lady came by one day and she looked at me and said, "Ma'am, can I have some change?" And she looked at me and she walked by. I thought she was gone, so I asked the next person. And I felt a little tap on my back. The same old lady. I said, "Yes, ma'am, you got change?" She looked in my face and she said, "Son, do your mama know you're out here doing this?" I said, "No, ma'am." She shook her head. She just walked away. Didn't give me a dime. I turned around, I sat on the steps, and never begged for money again.
You still see her face?
Yes. Oh, yes. I turned around and I looked, I walked her, she walked 2 blocks and took a left, and I watched her. Changed my life. Reminded me what my parents told me. And I had a college education, and I had a master's degree, and blah, blah, blah. My mother and father went to 2nd and 3rd grade, and they never asked anybody for anything. I had to carry that legacy on. Changed my life. Then I found transcendental meditation and other things, and that saved my life. Another times would be when Palmerstown, USA was a hit show on, I think, CBS. Alex Haley and Norman Lear, a couple of seasons, making great money, high lifestyle. I said, okay, now I've done this, I've proven myself as an actor. Didn't work for 2 years. It's like, it made me really question my talent. I think your ability to deal with pain and how you deal with that determines your life journey. Yeah, every rejection, and this sounds crazy, but every rejection is painful, but it's not personal. Because the 20 people before you are rejected also. And they weren't rejected because they're not talented. And you may be more talented than the person who got that job. Not because they're more talented than you, but because, and this is going to sound crazy, because if you have 50,000 social media followers, and they have 5 million. Guess who gets a job? So it's not personal, and it's not meant to be personal. It's business. They put $50-60 million into the movie. You may do the scene very well, but that other person is going to bring 5 million eyeballs. So just suppose 10% of them buy tickets. That's 500,000 tickets for opening day. You know, and it sounds harsh, but I have a question. If you put $50 million or $150 million into a film, wouldn't you be interested on the ROI of your investment? I mean, you may love Henry, but if Sam can bring you 50 million eyeballs for the 150 million you've spent, you're going to think about it. So we think they're mean and horrible people. No. They're businessmen and women. Somebody calls me and wants to talk to me, I'll tell them the truth. But most people go away and they take it personally. It's not personal. It's just a cruel, rejecting business. I mean, even if you come in and you're right for the part. I was a film. I won't name the film, but I was directing this film for a studio once, and the head of the studio was sitting here, and the head of marketing was here, and here's me. We're going through a file of actors, pictures and stuff. And I'm talking about how good the actor is and how he's right for the part. And the executive looks at me and he looks at the marketing person and he says, "Oh, you like this, right?" Marketing person says, "No global." I learned so fast because it had something to do with the actors. But if they had no global audience, they're not going to be in the film. They could have done the greatest audition for that part, but they bring no business. And the actor goes home and says, "I was great, and they rejected me. Maybe I'm not so good." No, you're brilliant. You were the best guy for the part, but no global. So I said, look up the percentage of AFTRA and SAG actors in the union, the percentage that work annually out of 100%. That's what the number was. 20. And out of the 20%, how many made over $50,000 a year? $100,000 a year?
Yeah, that was like
5?
Like 10%.
Over 10, that's about 10%. They go over $100,000 a year. Just deal with those numbers. You're coming in here with hope and dreams, right? Along with thousands of other people that look as good as you on the same day you're coming. They say don't take rejection personally, but if you get rejected once or twice, you can understand that. But suppose you're rejected every other day for 9 years. What's that do to you? Creates something called pain. Self-deprecation, self-doubt. And a lot of people bury those things with liquor and drugs, and I did that for a while when I first started. It's just so painful. Thank God I found meditation.
But I see kids out here now on the street. And they came here with hopes and dreams, and they're, when I said it, I mean literally on the street. Sad. And there's hope. I mean, there's luck and hope, and everybody keep dreaming. They should understand the business too. And the good part about today is you don't have to wait to be discovered. You can put podcasts and webisodes up. If it's something relevant and you get 1 or 2 million eyeballs, guess what? They come to you. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Been on for 10 years now, right? I started out with webisodes. Issa Rae, Awkward Dark Girls, Black Girls, right? Millions of eyeballs. Got a big deal with HBO. Tangerine was at Sundance 2 years ago. A movie made with 4 iPhones. Anybody waiting? I'm waiting for them to see how wonderful I am. These guys got tired of waiting, man. They said, I'm gonna discover myself, and they did. And guess what? When they got that kind of inner confidence and self-evaluation, something changed. Something happened. And good for them.
The only thing I can do is give them information and say, listen, I'm not in any way trying to stop you from dreaming. But a lot of dreamers out here. Not many make it, not many really reach their dreams. In order to do that, you have to be focused with a plan. And even if this plan doesn't work, you have to, don't ever give up. When you give, what can I say? Whatever you empower can create or destroy you. It's like if you're not responsible for your own life and you are not moving ahead and you're not doing this and you're succumbing to all of the resistances that come along with if you're trying to achieve anything great, you are that resistance. So it's a big giant. So what? He's got a toe. Bite it. He wants you to think he's invincible. That's his job because he's big. Yeah. Okay. You stick a pin in a giant's toe. It's only a pin. You stick it in there, And then you have to calculate which way he's going to fall because you want to go that way. Well, I mentor because I believe passing it forward, and I see tragedies happening around. I see beautiful young girls coming out here. 3 years later, they're almost unrecognizable. Young guys coming out with just dreams and no understanding of the business at all, and they are drugged out or just, doing crazy stuff. Because rejection this is a business of rejection. So in my classes, we teach several things. We teach the business of the industry. What is the industry? What is distribution? What is financing? What is marketing? What is a studio? What is a network? What is SAG? What is AFTRA? What's the DGA? What is the business of the industry? And we teach financial literacy. Okay, you made money, right? And everybody tells you to spend it. How do you use it? How do you use money? Teach them that. Then we teach them the paradigm shift that's happening between film and media. Most of them coming out here like they want to be actors and directors and they want to be Steven Spielberg. I say, okay, it's good, but why not be Steve Jobs too? Notice the last name, Jobs. So we really cold-blooded in terms of they leave the class, they love and hate us because they become business people. Maybe I teach the acting part of it, but they know what a cell phone app is and how to use it. They know what a game is, and they should start getting into gaming, not only being in one, but creating one. They should really be getting into creating their own webisodes. Well, I don't know how to write a webisode. So? What's that got to do with anything? Write one. What's that? What you're not knowing how to do it? What's that got to do with anything? If you're serious, you find a way. I can point you to a writer, come up with a good idea. I mean, it's like you have to give them you cannot make an informed decision if you do not have the information to make it with. You can't do it. It's all guessing. You may guess right, but man, all those lumps on the side of your head, my God. I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'll just be honest. Thank God I've seen a few exceptions. Hardworking, no excuse. See, there's two kinds of assistants that come to me to work on my films. One, they're nice kids, smart kids. You ask them to do something, they go do it, then they walk back and they ask you if this is what you wanted. The other kid is the kid who has observed you and your needs, and before you sit in a directing chair, everything you need is there. If you need something else, they run to get it and they run back. And they're there before you get you get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're at 5:30. You leave at 9, they leave at 10. You see, they understand the industry and the fact that they know they need missionaries. So once they satisfy my needs, I become their missionary for their next job. They understand it and they get it. But not the majority. The ones who walk, there's a sense of entitlement. I'm not quite sure where the hell that came from, but somehow I look good and I should have that part. What is wrong with you people? Don't you recognize my talent? I'm brilliant and I'm talented and I'm handsome and I have nice breasts and on my butt and I dress, look at how sexy I am. What is wrong with you all? Well, there's only just maybe a million or so you landing here per year that look just like you with the same butts and breasts and beauty, and I think you have competition.
I may love you as a person, I see your potential. But I'm working for a network studio and investors. They divide my day not into minutes, but seconds. They put a dollar value on every second. Every second I have to spend convincing you to fall into darkness backward is a second taken away from me making my day. If after 3 hours I get you to fall into darkness backward, but I had to cut 3 scenes from my day and I'm behind 3 scenes, this is not a good thing. I expect you to come prepared. Is it hard? I understand that, but it could have been a florist.
At that time, it was a cutting process. You paid your money and you were not guaranteed to finish the 2 years because every quarter in the basement of the school, there was a sheet of paper. If your name was not on it, you were dismissed. And they were preparing you for the reality of this industry of the rejection and how no matter how good you thought you were, you had to keep kicking your game up. And so what it gave me is no matter what anybody else says about my work and I see it in the theater, I know it could be better. And I'm always thinking about, man, I wish I had one more day or one more take with that actor or whatever it is, I could have done it better. So they gave you a realistic understanding of the industry and prepared you for it pretty well.
There's some people who are so unaware of how this place works. They'll say like, Oh, I want an agent, and I know you have an agent. Can you introduce me to your agent? I'm saying, do you have any pictures? No, I don't have any pictures. Okay. Do you have a reel? No, I don't have a reel. Have you ever acted in a film or a play? No, but I have an acting teacher. And people think I'm handsome. They really think I'm beautiful, and they think I'm talented. What do you say to that? I mean, I feel, okay, God knows I wish you luck. But you're coming out here with nothing? And you want me to just drive you to meet my agent? It doesn't work that way. Then there are kids. They have pictures, resume, decks. If they have a project, they have decks for their project, pictures, actors attached. They did the research for the demographic of what they're trying to sell to, the return on your investment, how much money it. Now, when I see that, I say, whoa, come here, let's talk. Because you're serious. I can teach you, but you don't need that much teaching. All you need is opportunity. See, that's a different experience. You're just looking for, I want to meet your agent. I don't want to be mean, but I can't do that. The agent says to me, why did you bring that person here? They wanted to meet you. That's not good.
But there's something about, how can I say? Okay, there's a difference between waiting to be discovered by someone and discovering yourself. It's like being discovered and discovering yourself is a different consciousness.
Sure.
And I think the newbies now there's some kind of entitlement mentality. But it's partially our fault too, because we have not prepared them for this. And so, the Lindsay Lohans of the world, those kids, I feel sorry for them. That the media just tortures and just devours them. But I mean, you make a couple of films, you think, hey, you've made it, and you take a script to somebody and you say, I know I made those films, but now I'm going to make this one. And they tell you, I'm going to say this once. Shut your goddamn mouth. Sit down. And don't come back until I call you. You have no power. That's kind of a painful thing. And if you don't have God in your life or meditation or something, you're going to take something to kill that pain. And you're going to take something. It could be alcohol, drugs, with ecstasy. But the point is that this is a business of rejection. And I'm not so sure this generation understands the layers of the rejection, the levels of the rejection. People who won Grammys, let's say, in music 2 years ago, where are they today? Haven't heard the names. People have starred in nice movies, independent movies, did a great job. Where's their next film, their third film or whatever? I'm just simply saying it's a business of rejection, and if you think because you have talent that is what's going to get you through, I think you're in for a painful journey. But if you have the understanding of a business person and you're creating maybe your website company, and you're creating your something else, and plus your film, and you're creating strategic alliances with the people, you may have a shot, and you may take that next role you get and leverage. Look at Queen Latifah. I mean, Queen Latifah was a rapper, made a couple of movies, then had a clothing line, that was her own show. and producing movies. If you want to follow an example of a business person, if I was a woman in this business, I'd look at her. I mean, a lot of pretty actresses out here who are acting, but those looks ain't gonna last. I mean, they're gonna last. After 32, I'm not trying to be mean. They just don't take you seriously. So what are you gonna do? Weep and cry, or you're gonna say, I get it, and from this age to this age, I'm gonna leverage everything you give me into my future, which is owning my content.
There are people who somehow they think something's going to be given to them. And there are other people who reach out to you for guidance of how they can get it themselves. The people who ask for guidance of how they can get it for themselves, I'm interested in them. Because they're not asking me to do it for them. They're saying, you've had experience, and I'm willing to listen to you so I don't make crazy mistakes. And so those people I relate to, because somebody did that for me. But people who come out and they just want, as you so eloquently spoke before, notoriety. They're not serious about this industry, not serious about being a great actor or a great writer, a great producer, or a great director. They just want to be seen and have people know who they are. I don't take them seriously. I was offered a role. I'm not going to tell you the role. It was a TV show. So I was playing this role that I did not like, and I think it was an embarrassing role of a pimp. But I have been trying to get a job in TV for like 3 years and couldn't get anything. Rejection. So I went for this role, audition, and I got the role. And friends of mine saw the script and they said, don't do it. Totally broke, rent was due. Able to give me something. It was on a hit TV show too. I did it. When I saw the footage, I said, oh my God, I hope nobody sees this. And maybe 5 to 7 years later, when I had some real money, I called the network and tried to buy the footage back that I was in and to buy the episode, and I said I'd pay whatever they wouldn't sell it to me. That's how ashamed I was. But needed the money, needed the job. Haven't done it since then. But I understand. And before that, I used to put down the step and fetch it. So I used to put down people that came before me that did, they smiled, laughed, and danced, and did act like, happy black people and maids and butlers and stuff. And I said, they're shaming the race and da-da-da-da. No. They took the jobs that were offered to them at that time to do the best that they could with what they had. And my respect for them changed totally because I was faced with the same thing. And I grew to understand why they did what they did. But I was fortunate enough not to have to do it again. And I haven't had to do it since. And I still get these opportunities, but to turn down something that can make you a lot of money, a lot of people would see, but it's totally against everything you stand for as an actor and artist and everything. I mean, certain people put down certain people because of what they did in a show or whatever, and I don't do that anymore. I just say, you don't know their circumstance. You got a sick baby at home. You got a sick baby at home. Got to take care of your bills. I don't know his business. Having a big ego, I think, is a sign of small self-regard. Having a small ego is similar. I think, I forgot his name, but Wayne Dyer, I think his name is. I love Wayne Dyer. And he said, you know, the key to having a great life is to get rid of your ego. And the audience said, what are you talking about? He said, do you know what the word ego stands for? E-G-O? He goes to the board and he says, E, edging. G, God. 0, out. He says your ego edges God out. And without that force in your life, he says, you have nothing but empty accomplishments. And he says, try eating those empty accomplishments when you're sitting home alone because nobody likes you in your mansion. He said it's more comfortable than being on the street. He said, but when you ride by that person sitting on the street, it looks familiar. I think he was brilliant and true. I know very wealthy people who are miserable. You ever met any? Money didn't fill the hole. Cars didn't fill the hole. Clothes didn't fill the hole. Vacation didn't fill the hole. Relationship didn't fill the hole. There's something else that you have to have. I'm not saying I know everything, but I do know, because I've had a lot of it, that all those things don't fill the hole. If you don't have self-love, even if somebody else loves you, if you don't have self-love, I tell my daughter every day, I say, you know, never forget, men treat you the way they see you treat yourself. Don't treat yourself the way you think he should perceive you. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated.
There's 2 books that I would recommend to people. One is by Stephen Pressfield. It's called The War of Art. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read. It helped change my life. The War of Art. Another one is by Seth Godin. It's called The Dip. And The Dip talks about people who are serious about whatever they're doing. They go, then they have a dip. You know, now you have one of 2 choices of getting out of that. You know, you can continue doing what you're doing, or you can begin to learn from where you've been and turn it into an advantage. So if you want to be an actress for 20 years or 15 years and you never really were able to get a foothold or a great agent or whatever, you can either stop or you can say, how can I use another way of getting to where I want to go? And today there's no excuse. I said, webisodes, mobile TV, games, cell phone apps. Kids made a feature film with 2 cell phones. I mean, what are you waiting for? The thing is that we're caught in this old paradigm that I cannot do anything without the permission of a system. And if you continue to think that way, you're right. You're waiting for permission. But suppose you say, I'm no longer waiting for permission. I'm going to create my own opportunity. It may not be perfect in the beginning, but I'm going to refine it. I'm going to create strategic alliances. I'm an actor-writer, but I know a starving director over there. That guy hasn't worked in 5 years, and he's looking for something. Maybe he and I, or I know a set designer who's kind of, or a producer was fired 4 years ago, hasn't worked since. But that kind of thinking. It's another book that Seth Godin wrote called Tribes. He says, stop trying to do it by yourself. Stop trying to do it by yourself. You don't have to.
I just finished doing a film, I think I was in Canada, and acting in a film, and I rushed back, and the same day that I came in, I had to be on the set, the Hughes brothers. And I just loved their work, I liked who they were. I read the script and I loved it. It was only one scene, and it's like, the way they set it up got me immediately into the mood because the room was dark, except there were like 3 spotlights, one on the young boy, one on the middle of the table where the gun was, and one on myself, and everything else was in shadow. And the police had brought this young man into this place to intimidate him into telling the truth. And so he was sitting there really nervous, and he thought he was smarter than everybody in the room. And so when I questioned him, it was like I first brought the gun in, put it on the table, and turned it toward him. But said to him, you're not necessarily getting out of here alive. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do? We can all say that you reached for the gun and we defended ourselves and shot you. We didn't say those words, we just went like that. That said it. When he saw that, it was like, oh boy, okay. And we started asking him questions. I started asking him questions about, was he there? And he said no. And he said you left the beer here and you bought the beer at this time, you drank the beer at this time. And then I saw his hand start shaking, and then I asked him the same question again, and he then, the second time, said a different time. And that's when I knew that I had him. And, that little gang thought they were so smart and we were so stupid. It was a feeling of joy. When I said to him, you know something? No, you're not fucked up, right? No. You know you're not fucked up, right? Now, here's what's crazy. I was in Brussels, Belgium, around 5 or 6 months ago, acting in a film with Nicolas Cage called Mandy, right? I'm sitting in a restaurant, eating food by myself. This young Belgian kid comes up to me and says, excuse me, sir, but you know you're not fucked up, right?
Oh my God.
I laughed so hard, but no matter what country I go to, I've made a lot of films as an actor and director. And the line that said to me the most around the world, no matter what city I go for, and you know something? They're young kids. That's what's amazing to me. They've all seen that picture. I don't know how they see it. But they see it and they all repeat that line. And older people too. So yes, it's interesting.
How has that impacted your life? I'm sure it's got to feel good that people know your work.
Yes.
At the same time, maybe you're surprised that they're young kids that are seeing this film and from all walks of life. What does that do to someone?
Well, it means you did a good job because you impacted them in that way. You also wish there was more that they remember you for other than just that line, but you know, you're appreciative of the fact that they've seen your work and they appreciate what you've done. And that's always good, you know, because I'm very self-critical of my work. And so when someone affirms that what I've done impacted them, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. Because they don't have to be kind. They don't have to come up to you. They don't have to. But they do. At a certain age, you think you've been forgotten about, and you haven't. That's rewarding also. Especially when young people do it. And from different countries.